Hello everybody, we are back with Seer's Isle, and I think it just throws us into a chapter without any intros or anything, so I figured I'd do it here. Chapter 2. Ooh, okay. I think chapter 2 is called Winds, so there you go. I can't tell from the howling wind noise in the background. Yeah. There we go. They advanced into the heartland beneath the incessant howling of the wind. I watched them from afar. The Seers have a stronger hold here inland. I must be careful that my presence isn't felt. Duncan and Eric led the convoy and fixed a fast pace for the other members of the expedition. Arlen comes in at the back. She hurries to catch up with Jennifer. That's the weirdest way I've seen to spell Jennifer. Jennifer? The healer turns towards Arlen. A benevolent smile enlightens her face. It awes Arlen that Jennifer can be so kind without undermining her determination. What we saw earlier, was it a seer? Yes, at least the legends describe them like that. Have you never heard the stories told about them? My father isn't from around here, he comes from the south. As for my mother, let's just say she didn't have time to pass all that down to me. Oh, that stinks. Oh, I understand. Do you know what they want? The seers? No one really knows their intentions. They choose those who are worthy to receive their gifts, but we don't know how or why. Interesting. Jennifer reflects for a few moments. But why have you come to the island if you weren't prepared for the trials? I'm the eldest of a large family, and I have to take care of my brothers and sisters. When Enid, the healer of my village, died, I agreed to submit to the initiation to replace her. In exchange, the people of my village will ensure that my family lacks for nothing. Wow. Yes, I imagine it can't be easy, being the daughter of an outsider in a small village. A fleeting, bitter yet resigned smile crosses Arlen's face. Enid was the only one not to regard us as a strange beast. She explained the readiness to me how to prepare a few ointments. And you're not a bit too old for the initiation. Jennifer smiles. Oh, I'm not as old as all that. Sorry, forgive me. That's not what I meant to say. But you're right, I never imagined either that one day I would become a shaman. Really? But you seem to know so much. If you hadn't been there to treat Brandon, I don't know how we would have bandaged his wound. Oh, that wasn't much. But you must have a lot of questions, no? Doesn't bother you, are you sure? On the contrary, it makes the walk less tedious. If the wind would drop a little bit, though... Oh yes, our ears will ache more than our legs if this keeps up. I'm listening. How can I try to enlighten you? Should we ask about first? Let's try the seers. So these children are really the seers of the island? Yes. The island is kind of a door into the world of the seers, you could say. In reality, the seers are everywhere around us in nature. The wind, the tides, even the storms and the flames. It's them that bring those about. Here, the boundary between the two worlds is especially thin, so we can see them. If we receive the sacred flame, we'll be linked with them with their magic. According to the legends, the seers that we see on this island are the guardians who will only allow those worthy to reach the flame. Guardians, yet they don't seem very ferocious. Oh, don't trust their appearance. You do well to think of them with the fear and indifference that they deserve. They don't really scare me, so. I couldn't tell you why, but they inspire my trust. I think they know what we're doing. We can't compare them to ourselves. They must see the world very differently to how we do. Try putting yourself in their place. What would you do if strangers came to your home and started eating your provisions? Arlen laughs. Yet they need us and we need them. Oh yes. Why would they need us? They need shamans to guide men so that the balance of nature is kept in their world. We became the ambassadors for our people if they judged us worthy of the task. I hadn't seen it all that way. And us, we need their magic and their wisdom. I would say it's a win-win situation. Seems like a fair deal to me. Everybody wins. I don't know. But if we reach the end of our trials, maybe we'll understand their aims better. I know that we have to undergo trials to reach the summit of the island, but no one seems to know what's really waiting for us. I don't know much either. The shamans who have survived the initiation don't speak of what happened on the island. But if a shaman chooses you as their successor, they should prepare you the best that they can. It seems a bit strange that they don't share their experiences on the island with their disciple, don't you think? We hadn't had a mentor, you and I, but if you ask Freya or Duncan, for example, they'll tell you that their mentor prepared them for the trial. Without telling them what awaits then, really. Jennifer thinks. I can see two possible reasons. Either explaining the substance of the trials won't be any help in succeeding, or it's taboo and maybe the seers have forbidden them to speak of it. I imagine the trials will be different for each of us. Oh? What makes you say that? For example, look at Connor and Eric. What constitutes as a trial for Connor would be a trifle for Eric, and vice versa. In any case, we'll know soon enough. Something else? What do you think of our group? Our group? How should I put it? Everyone seems nice enough in themselves. Jennifer seems to be looking for the right words. That said, I'm afraid that some of us aren't really ready for what awaits them. It's clear that Brandon doesn't seem to really know why he's here. Yes, and I'm relieved that he stayed on the beach. But I wasn't thinking about him in particular. She goes, are you thinking of Duncan? And it's true that he hid his fear of Heifs from us. Oh no, I think Duncan has a good chance of succeeding. In that case, I don't see Freya and Eric come from the north. Somehow it didn't make sense. In that case, I don't see Freya and Eric come from the north. I can't see them failing. Well, to be honest, in fact, I was thinking of Eric. Eric? But he seems to really know what he's doing. Yes, but he's eaten up by anger and thirst for revenge. It's a volatile mix. Yes, you're right. It'll probably won't take a lot to set him off. I hope I'm wrong, even if... Jennifer breaks off looking unsettled. I'm sorry, I just kinda had a deja vu. God, I hate deja vu. I had a name on the tip of my tongue as if there was someone missing from the expedition. It happened a few times since we've arrived on the island. You haven't? Arlen thinks. No, I don't think so, but I felt like we're being watched ever since we set foot on that beach. Of course, it might just be the seers of the island. Yes, maybe. I noticed that you've passed some time with Freya. What do you think of her? I admit I'm finding her hard to pin down. She's lovely. I think she's someone reliable and trustworthy. Well, you seem to get on well, the two of you. You said you hadn't planned to become a shaman. No, that's right. I've only been preparing my initiation for 2 years. Oh, and what made you come to the island? The shadow of buried pain flits across Jennifer's face. You could say that a curse devastated my village. Everything went from bad to worse, and I felt powerless. I swore to myself I would do what I could to never find myself in that situation again. I studied herbalism and the healing crafts. I soon knew that if I wanted to see it through, I had to complete my initiation. That's how I find myself here with you. A little older, certainly, than most of the people who come to the island. Arlen would have liked to know more, but Jennifer doesn't seem to want to pursue the topic. Dang it. The two young women continue in silence. The sun has already begun its descent towards twilight. Jennifer pulls a pouch made from a knotted rag from her sack. She takes only a biscuit, which she offers to Arlen, and takes out another for herself. Arlen accepts gratefully. She noticed that the mineral scent of the ocean is lessened despite the constant gust. Far off, a forest can be seen climbing along the foothills of the summit. She wonders if they will reach the outskirts before night. The trees will provide some shelter from the wind. At the head of the line, Duncan tries to keep up a fast pace with the far-off forest in his line of sight. There's no real path to show him exactly which route to take, but the heath is strewn with megaliths which seem to mark the way. Interesting. He's not sure, but he thinks his uncle Leith had mentioned this in an errand moment one evening in Lusnagen. I know what that is. It's a festival, aka a Sabbath. When Duncan had taken advantage of his inebriation to ask him about the island. You sneaky hoe. The way weaves from standing stone to standing stone. Whether he's right or not, it seems to him much wiser to trust these markers, which perhaps guide them against invisible dangers, than to take the more direct route towards the forest. In living memory, the island has always been wild, uninhabited, only visited from time to time by expeditions of novices coming to seek the approval of the Seers to complete their magical initiation. Duncan reaches a megalith which he passes on the left as traditional dictates. On this one, if he squints, he can distinguish interlacing curves half erased by the wind and rain. Duncan supposes that these engravings must probably tell a story. I gotta read that sentence over. Duncan supposes that these engravings must probably, wow, that's some English right there, tell a story. Or at least reveal more about the markers of these effigies. The legends do not tell of the Seers as builders, and even less as being able to or wanting to raise monuments in the kingdom of men. The only explanation could be that in times past, the island was inhabited by a permanent population, and a big one, considering the size of this work. Without mentioning that stair up the cliffside that Eric and Freya had found. What kind of catastrophe could have made the creators of the Standing Stones vanish? Everyone's gonna have to forgive my tongue-tiedness this morning. Behind him, he hears Freya call out, "Duncan!" He stops and turns. Freya jogs to catch up. Eric is following close behind them, but they are all well ahead of the rest of the group. "Oh, sorry, I didn't realize we were leaving the others behind." "No, it's not that, look." Freya points over to the right. A throw stone away are two of the antlered children, one of them beckoning the group to come closer. "Yes, I can see them. I think they're signaling us to follow them. Yes, but then we'd have to leave the path of the Karens. The Karens? Yes, the megaliths. I noticed you were guiding the group from Standing Stone to Standing Stone. Did your mentor speak of them to you too? Not really. He mentioned them vaguely. It came back to me when I saw them. But it seemed logical to me to use them as landmarks to get to the forest. Oh, I thought you knew. Gurdon, the shaman of my clan, warned me about the megaliths. Meaning... She told me that we must not divinate. I believe something happened to her expedition when they tried to leave the path. Duncan studies Freya. Oh, yes? Your mentor spoke to you about the island? Of course not. You know that's forbidden, but occasionally, from time to time, some information would slip out. Exactly. It's that said, if a seer asks us to follow him, surely it would be better to listen, don't you think? Eric overtakes them without stopping. Hey, lovebirds, we're not here for dawdling. Wait, Eric, did you see? This time it's Duncan who points towards the seers. Yes, there are seers. They've been waving to us for a while, didn't you notice? Freya looks ruffled, as if her pride has been wounded. I confess I was looking straight ahead, and I was careless. Never mind, it's only to be expected that a woman wouldn't be a good tracker. That's not nice. Duncan wonders whether he should point out that it was Freya who had shown him the antlered children, but Eric doesn't allow him that time. Eric's a butthole. Whatever, we should follow the megaliths. The seers are clearly trying to lead us astray. Freya, her voice like ice, initiating each symbol, does not see things the same way. No, I believe we should trust the seers. We should follow them. Eric puts a menacing hand to his weapon. Duncan must settle this fast before the disagreement descends into a fistfight. Shit. Freya's right. If the seers are signaling us to follow them, we should listen. We need to trust them. In the end, it is they who decide whether or not they give us the sacred flame. Excuse me? The tradition says to follow the megaliths. So we follow the megaliths, that's it. Duncan has played the scene 100 times with his big brothers at the castle. Eric is clearly stronger than him, but this time he decides no, he will not let himself get bullied. It's not you who decides. Connor joins them. What's going on? He looks amused, a faint smile on his lips. We leave you alone for 2 minutes and... Ugh. Eric turns sharply and knocks Connor to the ground with the back of his hand. Hey, you stay out of it. It's not some city boy who's going to give me lessons. Connor looks terrified. Jennifer and Arlen join the group, running. The healer steps towards Eric and Connor. No, that's enough. Are you trying to kill each other? What's the problem? We saw a seer signaling us to follow him. Duncan glances in the direction of the seers, who have vanished in the meantime. Freya suggested that we follow them. Eric wanted us to keep following the megaliths. And you, Duncan, what do you think? I think we should follow the seers, Jennifer thinks. The 3 of you are the most seasoned guide. If no one objects, I think I will follow the majority. Everyone agrees. Eric looks furious. Of course he does. Do what you want. I will follow the Karens. Eric turns on his heels and moves off without glancing behind. The group remains frozen, as if powerless to prevent the inevitable. Jennifer is the first to react. Wait! Duncan is too far away to hear what they're saying, especially with the wind against them. Things become more heated for a while, and then finally Eric nods his head and they return to the group. No one has the nerve to make any comments. Eric says in a treacherous voice, Fine. But if something happens, don't say I didn't warn you. The group gets moving again. Duncan and Connor return to the head of the convoy, guiding the rest of the expedition towards where they had seen the seers earlier. The wind finally drops and they progress more easily. Near the back, Eric mutters something about this, probably harping on that he had a bad feeling about it. In the distance, on their left, is a circle of standing stones. Duncan peers at it, disappointed not to pass closer to the edifice to examine it in more detail. What's that? It's Comlench, a stone circle. Our ancestors used them like a calendar for tracking the positions of the stars and the moon and the sun. Oh, so like Stonehenge, okay. Duncan indicates a dolmen in which they can see from afar in the circumference of the circle. You see that? That's the east door. It's placed in such a way that the sun rises exactly in its frame on the day of Lithium, when we watch the center of the circle. That's a lot of work for a simple sundial, isn't it? Duncan scowls. No, it isn't a simple sundial. It's a ceremonial edifice which allows us to be in harmony with nature and the entire universe during ceremonies. I suppose you lot in the city, you prefer to shut yourselves in temples, nice and warm, well protected from the sun. The two enter a heated debate as they continue to walk. After a while, Connor looks up and notices that the forest seems further away than it was last time he looked. A little further along to the right was a stone circle. Duncan is delivering a long dissertation on the supposed superiority of polytheism when he realizes that Connor has stopped listening. Hey, you're not listening. Didn't we pass the stone circle on our left a while ago? But I could have sworn we were moving away from... How is that possible? I don't know. I thought we were going in a straight line. Me too. The sun hasn't got itself lost, though. Yes, we should make camp. A pity. I really hope to reach the forest before nightfall. Well, we're all tired. What with crossing the storm in the walk. Things will be clearer in the morning. Night has fallen on them. The heath is not providing a glut of dry wood. Arlen and Duncan have made a modest fire on the side of another older campfire, probably the remains of the previous expedition. Connor stretches his tired legs. It's the first time he truly sleeps beneath the stars. Of course, he has slept under porches or in alleys before the temple took him in, but never like this, with the star-filled sky like a jewel-encrusted orb, stretching from one end of the horizon to the other. The rest of the group seems just as weary, munching silently on the loaf of bread and cheese they have shared out. The provisions they have brought will not hold out for long. They will have to find subsistence on the island quickly. Arlen has finished her meal and pulls out a small wooden flute from her bag. The other members of the expedition who are conversing in low voices or eating in silence stop from what they are doing to listen to the melodic air which emerges from the instrument. Melody is childlike, innocent, and Connor thinks it must be a lullaby or a nursery rhyme. He's never heard anything like it. The music of the temple is always thunderous and righteous. As for the dances that can be heard in the city taverns, they definitely have the gentle, nostalgic tonality of the lament that comes from Arlen's flute. Yay, Englishing. Arlen closes her eyes as she plays, as if possessed by a state of spiritual revere. As the last note of the melody floats into the night, Arlen realizes that everyone is watching her in silence. She blushes. Oh, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt your conversations. It's beautiful. Is it a melody from your region? My father taught it to me. He comes from the south. It's natural that you wouldn't know the tune. When he's away on the road, I play it for my brothers and sisters. In any case, you play very well. You're just as good as the troubadours in the capital. Arlen gives a hint of I couldn't read that. It went too fast. Come back. Oh well. Thank you. Jennifer smiles. Can you play another? Your flute has such a calming sound, and it helps me to think. After everything that's happened today, I need to organize my thoughts. There's something... Jennifer turns to the group. I don't know, but I have the sensation of having a word on the tip of my tongue without being able to find it. Some agree, others look at Jennifer, surprised. Eric lies down, turning his back on the fire, grumbling that it would have been better to gather their strength, that it won't stop him from sleeping, but still. Arlen resumes playing. Connor listens with a distracted ear before noticing that Jennifer was staring at the flames with strange intensity. For a long while, the group allowed themselves to be lulled by the enthralling and mysterious notes of Arlen's flute. Then she opens her eyes and stops playing. Jennifer continues to stare into the fire, which has in explicitly become fiercer. She turns her eyes towards the darkness and towards the emptiness of the hearthland. Then she turns to Duncan. Be cautious of the whispers in the night. Are you sure you're the master of your choices? Duncan doesn't know how to react. Jennifer, are you alright? Jennifer stares into the night. You're not worthy of the flame. The knot may tie and untie. You will change nothing. Accept your destiny and let us leave. Interesting. Connor takes Jennifer by the arm and shakes her gently. Jennifer? She seems confused for a moment, and then she smiles. Yes? Who were you talking to? Me? To no one. I was just listening to Arlen. Thank you, Arlen. That was wonderful. You don't remember? Jennifer seems astonished yet concerned. Don't remember what? Connor turns to the other, hoping that someone else knows what to do. The others look as lost as him. You said something about a knot in the flame, don't you remember? No? Really, I'm sorry. It must be the strain. We're all tired, but am I the only one to be a bit shaken up by what's happened today? I mean, some of you have been prepared for this journey on the island. I know that I come from the city, which you haven't hesitated to point out some more than others. Connor glances at Eric, who seems to have fallen asleep. Listen, Connor, maybe we've been a little better prepared to become shamans, but we don't know any more than you do. What happened on the island is taboo. Our predecessors weren't permitted to speak of it, just as we will be forbidden. Well, the other ones who managed to reach the summit and receive the flame... I suppose everything will become clear at some point. But in the meantime, we must trust the Seers. It's not as if we have any choice. Freya's right. We'd do better to get some rest. We won't find the answers by staying up all night. Jennifer lies down by the fire and closes her eyes. The others do the same. Connor contemplates the flames for a moment. This strange world, peopled of seers, currents, and sea monsters, is a long way from the daily life of the temple. The wild expanses of the island almost frighten him, after so many days cloistered in his cell. The days punctuated by the inexorable ringing of the temple bells. He still doesn't understand why he's been sent here. Does he truly have a mission to accomplish? A vital role to strengthen the supremacy of the temple? Or was he simply sent here because the secular authorities didn't know what to do with him? Connor shrugs to himself. Then he curls up close to the fire, trying like the others to get some sleep. I watched the flames become embers. I hid to avoid encountering the seer who roamed the heath in the small hours of the night. I am not yet ready. When they drew near the expedition, taking advantage of their human troper, I returned to the beach of Wales. Here in the confines of my domain, I am almost transparent, like a sylph stripped of its wings. But the moon's reflection on the ocean waves, the salt fragrant air, so vivid in my memory, act on my weariness like a promise of renewed freedom. When I am sure that the seers have finished their inspection of the flesh, I return to the heath to watch over my potential saviors. Jennifer is missing. The seers must have seized her and separated her from the group. Far away in the burnished gloom which precedes the sunrise, I glimpse her heading towards the stone circle. Flames and teeth fill Freya's dreams. She succumbs between the weight of responsibility and grief, her brow beaded with icy sweat. With a ghostly caress, I command her to leave the darkness of within to surface to the subterranean realm. She opens her eyes in panic, and other members of the group slumber on. Instinct tells her that this nocturnal awakening is due to some external influence. Her eyes flicker to the crumpled blanket in Jennifer's place. She knows what I expect of her. She rises without a sound and heads with large strides towards the comlech like a hunting hawk. It should awaken my survival instinct, but I cannot stop myself from following the hunter, forgiving my prudence. Jennifer is at the center of the circle, heading towards the antlered children who come to meet her from the eastern edge. It is too late. What must pass will pass. Hey, Freya passes the boundary of the comlech. She crosses without hesitation. Jennifer has reached the children. She stretches a hand towards them. There's a bright flash, then emptiness. Jennifer's and the seers have vanished. Freya feels a pressure behind her, or a presence, well, my presence. She turns. She sees me. During this fraction of a second, when time seems to stand still, everything is clear. Lucid. She opens her mouth to say something, but the wave of magic is broken on the boundaries of the comlech and ebbs towards the source, taking with it the insight of what is, what has been, and what will be. I am invisible again. Freya stays there for a moment, going around the stone circle as she hopes to find a breach to the seers, or, if not, to see more clearly. Finally, she returns to the others. When she reaches the camp, the group is agitated. Duncan approaches her as soon as he sees her arrive. His face shows a mix of worry and relief. Freya, we were getting ready to start searching for you. Have you seen Jennifer? Freya lowers her eyes. Duncan lets out a sigh. The rest of the group have come over. Freya tells them of the events of the night, and suddenly awakening, Jennifer's disappearance, the seers, the young woman glimpsed in the comlech. I told you we couldn't trust the seers. I'm sure they'll do everything they can to split us up and make us vanish one after the other. I don't know. I've always been taught to trust, but I confess I don't know what to think anymore. How can we trust them if they're going to abduct members of our expedition? Connor looks nervous, torn by doubt. Do you think she's dead? There's a long silence that Duncan resolves to break. Whatever the case, we must continue. I don't think it's any use to wait for Jennifer to come back. Arlen points at the bag that Jennifer has left behind. What do we do with her things? I think we should at least share out the supplies. Arlen nods and begins to empty Jennifer's bag. They each come forward in turn to take the cloths remaining dry fruits, breads, and dried meat. At the bottom of the bag, Arlen finds a bone comb, a firestone, then hesitates before withdrawing a rag doll. Jennifer had children? We walked together yesterday during the walk. She didn't speak of children, but she is married. She spoke of a plague which struck down her village. Maybe she kept this doll as a memento. Perhaps, or maybe her daughter asked her to make it with her as a lucky charm. My little sister wanted me to take a little wooden horse, her favorite toy, when I left my village. Eric shows signs of impatience. Well, we've shared out our supplies. We should get moving again. Connor's about to make a remark but changes his mind. Alright, but what do we do with the other things? Freya sighs. I'll take her things. You never know, if we ever find Jennifer, she'll be happy that we kept them. If she brought this doll with her, it must be important to her. Are you sure? I don't mind taking it with me. Yes. I'm carrying less than you. I really don't mind. Very well. Arlen gives Jennifer's few belongings to Freya, who puts them in her pouch. The group finishes gathering its belongings and gets underway. Freya glances behind her to the comlet. In the space of an instant, she glimpses something, like a silhouette disappearing behind the stones. A seer? She shrugs and hurries to catch up with the end of the line. And that is where Chapter 3 starts. Well, the story just got about 3,000 times more intriguing. I'm not sure what to think about it or the Seers at this point. I do like all the cool historical information they're giving out, though. That's fun. Alright, well, if you're enjoying the story as much as I am, let me know in the comments. And you know the drill. Like, subscribe, and I will see you next time I play this. We'll continue with Chapter 3, which is called Oaks. So I'm going to guess they reach the forest. But we'll see you next time. Alright, laters.